My name is Jeff Nitch, and I'm from the College of Music. I run the Entrepreneurship Center for Music at CU, and my co-track leader, Nathan Schneider. Thank you so much, Nathan. And thank you to Elevations Credit Union for wherever my Elevations person is. Thank you for hosting us at Elevations Credit Union. So, judges for tonight. This lineup actually has already changed since I made this slide, because we have one of our judges is MIA. But we have Anita Henderson Moore from Free Speech TV as our judge, one of our judges here tonight. Thank you for joining us, Nina. We have David Mallard, who's the Assistant Dean for Budget and Finance at the College of Music. Thank you, David. And then we do not have Jonathan Schreiber. Instead, we have Francie Wojcik, who is the Associate Director of Development in the College of Media, Communication, and Information. That's what CMCI stands for. The alphabet soup, which is the college campus. So thank you to our judges, all three of you, and we're so glad that you are bringing your expertise to all of this. Good luck to everybody. I'm so excited. I'm so excited that we have a full house, and let's roll. Let's do this. And we are first up with the Cannabis Marketing Association.
How do you market cannabis? Is it a medicine? Is it an adult use substance? And which one of these is which? The fact is that it's both. So how do you market something that's been so misunderstood? And what makes marketing cannabis especially difficult? Cannabis marketing regulations vary from state to state and even county to county. For example, California allows billboards and Colorado does not. Denver allows branded apparel, and until recently, Boulder did not. In Canada, celebrity endorsements and consumer testimonials are banned, and in the US, they're not. Not to mention, advertising violations are a legal cause to shut down cannabis businesses, creating incredible pressures for marketers to stay informed and compliant. Digitally, it gets even more complicated. Social media platforms prohibit advertising and shut down accounts at random, cutting off key connections businesses have with their customers. Yet despite this, the industry is growing at a stunning 31% compound annual growth rate, and is projected to be a $50 billion industry by 2026. In the next 3 years, there will be twice as many marketing roles that require a cannabis marketing skill set than the total of new marketing jobs in the United States. There will be huge demand for traditional marketers to market a product that they may not understand in an industry whose regulations they've never considered. And this knowledge gap is creating problems that are about to compound. My name is Lisa Buffo, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Cannabis Marketing Association. The industry needs an organization dedicated to education, community, and best practices. I was the chief marketing officer of a wholesale cannabis company when I experienced these challenges firsthand. So I started having meetings to discuss these issues. I created a meetup group, and at our first meeting, 80 marketers showed up, eagerly seeking support and information. And by the second meeting, we started charging $20 to come. Within a few months, marketers from San Francisco and Los Angeles reached out about forming chapters. We launched these chapters, and to prove traction, we sold year-long memberships just at our Bay Area launch, and 30% of attendees purchased these memberships, with chapter events being the only benefit. And for the last year, we've averaged 50 people per meeting per market, and now our early adopters are demanding more from us. CMA has organic inbound requests from over 15 cities to launch chapters. We have over 1,400 direct requests for membership, and we've had numerous offers from businesses wanting to pay for sponsorships. And all of this with absolutely no funding and $0 going towards marketing. The first product we're launching is an individual membership. This membership tier gets you access to members-only chapter events, access to our online educational portal that members can network through, and access to industry data through our partnership with the leading business intelligence and analytics company in the cannabis industry. In Q3, we're launching business memberships, essentially group rates for employees based on size. And in Q4, we're creating long-term value by launching an annual educational conference for marketers in the industry. And with our widened audience, we can also charge for ad space across our offerings. all things we have been asked to do by our members. CMA will establish itself as a thought leader through content, and we use both inbound and outbound methods to bring on members. I've worked for 4 different business accelerators, and in my cannabis CMO role, I launched a $30 million tech startup this way. There are cannabis associations focused on lobbying, and there are marketing associations focused on producing academic research and representing agencies. But no one is addressing one of the largest pain points, marketing, for an entire industry. Associations are long-living organizations and win simply by first-mover advantage. Our COO worked at the top marketing association for 7 years, and our California director worked at the country's oldest dispensary in Berkeley, California. We also have an agency CEO whose clients include Facebook and Twitter, and the head of marketing for the industry's leading news source. If we sign up just 3/4 of our current membership requests, we can generate significant revenue in the first year, and most importantly, establish ourselves as the leaders in this space and create a solid foundation for marketers to land on. With funding, CMA can hire staff, build out our educational content portal, and launch chapters. CMA will create a future where marketers are empowered to use standards, education, and best practices responsibly. Forbes calls associations the backbone of every profession, and it's time for America's fastest growing industry to stand itself up. Thank you.
Judges. So, how do you anticipate balancing the sharing of marketing knowledge given the dramatic variability of usable information and illumination?
Can you say that?
Given that the rules vary city to city, county by county, state by state, how do you anticipate communicating and connecting with marketers in each of their locations?
So one thing we can do is part of our online content portal, so that regardless of where you are, you can access this data. And consolidating where the regs are in one space is a searchable tool that we can use through our association management software. But part of the chapter events is to also have support, because currently best practices in the industry is, what did your company do that worked that didn't get you shut down, and having that conversation in a safe place to have it. It's crazy, but it's true. It's really important.
How many members do you have now?
So we had only sold about 50 memberships. We had really big demand, and then it was just me running it, so I just said, hold on while we get organized. And that's why we have that list of 1,400 people. But we just sold them for that 1 month. But we have over 750 people in our California meetup group, and we have over 550 here in Colorado.
Are you looking at, I noticed on the map you had so many different states flagged. Are you looking at markets where cannabis is legal in some form, or other areas as well?
So for chapters, yes, but part of why we're putting our content portal online is so that for those that are not legal yet, but maybe looking to move or are in the process of writing legislation, can access that information. And when we do our events in California and Colorado, we get requests all the time like, hey, are you live streaming this? And that's when we said, if we do this without a membership, then the people who are paying are missing out. So that's why we want to put it behind an online content portal that would be password and paywall protected.
Does this exist outside? A lot of cannabis retail right now has to exist outside of federal banking and things like that. I assume this would exist on the other side of that fence because you are not actually.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
And would you see expanding your membership to kind of the associated businesses like banks, security?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, our goal is to really change the stigma around cannabis, and because we've never seen a product like this hit the market ever that is both a medicine and an adult use substance. So the more people we can get at the table to really talk about this and educate about the truth is important. So absolutely.
And about how many people do you think, let's say you get half of the 1,400 to sign up for subscriptions or to become members, that's still a lot of information and research to maintain. How will you keep, because this stuff is changing constantly,
yeah.
How will you keep it fresh?
So part of having chapters is having chapter leaders in those markets, and so whoever's running San Francisco is in charge of knowing the rules and the context of that location and consulting with the association at the HQ or national level about that information. But in terms of physically managing it, there's association management software that's very standard for this industry.
Anything else from the judges?
I think I'm good, yeah.
Thank you.
All right. How many of you like art? Beautiful. So do we. Luckily, we're in the creative track industries. Hi, my name is Asia Peters.
And I'm Natalie Bagnano.
And we're here representing our venture, Art Deck.
Currently, the art market is valued at being a $45 billion market, but we see quite a few issues within this market, primarily being that the $45 billion actually is largely allocated in these hot-ticket art pieces like Van Gogh's and Monet, and a lot of the other art that's actually calculated for are pieces that are going for thousands or upwards of millions of dollars, which most of us probably can't afford to have in our homes. But the second problem that we see in this is that it doesn't account for actual local markets. So Boulder, who has a lot of local artists that are producing really great work, don't actually have a platform to share their art and distribute it, so they're not being calculated in these numbers. There's totally a market loss there.
As a result, only 10% of people who graduate from art school succeed in making a living from their artwork. This is because it's very difficult to gain exposure due to lack of space, funding, and platforms for gaining this kind of exposure. Which is why we created Art Deck, an online platform intended to put locally produced artwork into continuous circulation for the mutual benefit of artists and consumers alike.
The way it works is customers log on to the Art Deck website and subscribe in order to gain access to the exclusive local art that we have in our gallery. And what happens is we conduct a shuffle, which means 4 times a year, when people have subscribed, they get put into a queuing system. And when we open up the gallery, subscribers can choose 2 pieces to have installed in their home for the following 4-month period. At the conclusion of that period, we'll come in, uninstall it, and people can select 2 new pieces of art, shuffling their deck once again, or they can actually have the option to purchase the art, which goes directly back to the artist. So our primary platform is a website, and on this website, multiple interfaces exist. The first of which is artists being able to submit their art onto the gallery online, which different curators can select to actually have in the gallery for the public. The second of which is actually customers logging on, and we have a special quiz that you can take which will match you with different tastes that you might answer through your questions with the actual art that we have in our gallery, so we can appropriately match you when the time comes for you to be able to select your art.
So that we can take your space from this, to this, to this.
So our target market right now is actually creative individuals, looking at people like architects and interior designers who already have this intense desire for uniqueness and are keeping up with the trends, really wanting to be able to reinvent their space, but also have some of the funding coming from their different jobs and being able to support the different lifestyle of being able to change up your space.
We currently have a pledge of intrigue circulating amongst local artists, specifically the grad students at CU, in order to both validate our idea and to create a contact list for our upcoming beta test. So we're currently working closely with our finance person on our team to establish our base price for the service, and we anticipate that we're going to generate a profit in 3 ways. The first is going to be to sign up onto the Art Deck service. The second is going to be the commission. A percentage of it will go to the artist and a percentage will go to us. And then a premium subscription, which will give people the option to have a sooner spot in the queue that they can then select their art from, or to have exclusive access to more exclusive pieces. This is the team we're currently working with. Myself and Natalie are the co-founders. She's our head of business communication and executive stylist. I'm the graphic designer and head of social media and marketing. We also have Anila, our finance person, and Courtney, our law and fine art specialist.
So currently we're in the process of conducting an official beta test, working with the various artists that we have reached out to and have reached out to us to actually put it in people's homes and run it on the current different model that we have set up right now. But we anticipate being able to actually launch the website in the fall once a lot of the legal and copyright agreements are actually taken care of and we're able to give those to artists. So making sure that they get the credit that they deserve when we actually publish their work. And then we anticipate being able to spread citywide and nationally within the following 8 to 10 years.
So feel free to keep up with our progress by following us on Instagram, and when the time comes, please let us shuffle your art deck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you take us back to the economics and step us through that in a little more detail?
This part?
Yeah.
There we go.
Here. Who's paying who? When do folks pay?
So when you first sign up for the Art Deck service, you're going to pay a flat rate, and everyone will pay that same rate. But the order in which you sign up determines where you are put in the queue. And so the premium subscription, which is the third part here, suggests that you can pay a higher fee in order to gain a sooner spot in the queue. So you'd be put ahead of people who pay the flat rate. And then we would also generate a commission if people choose to purchase the art that they've rented out for this period of time, which we anticipate will be kind of a common thing, because when you get to experience art in a more intimate way, you're more likely to want to purchase it. And so we would make a percentage of the commission.
So you're making money on the subscription from the consumer. Do the artists pay to be listed?
No.
No, it's free for the
free
artist
to the
subscribe.
artist.
Yes.
And then on the purchase, if they purchase. And how big are you hoping to have your subscription base over that timeline? Like, how do you expect to grow that base?
What do you mean?
So comes back to your timeline.
This one?
Yeah, to sustain you. How big does your subscription base need to be?
Well, we're currently calculating out the exact numbers, so we don't have a price yet, but we're working to establish one that will cover the initial costs.
Have you considered working with businesses? I think about the work Jeffrey does working here in Elevations, and that this lobby would be a beautiful place and there's connected community. We want to showcase local art and artists around here. That seems like an interesting market. Have you guys thought about that, or is it?
Yeah, we have. So we're both design students. We've talked a lot about working in like staging and then actually working with local businesses. We had one business that's also competing in the New Venture Challenge reach out to us and ask if we would actually help curate some of the art for their space, which was really awesome. But we wanted to start in kind of the more personal market just because we have closer associations to people that are in sort of this design field. So it was where we started our base platform. But it is something that we've considered and would like to eventually expand to once we kind of establish our base. Yeah.
Have you looked into if there's any similar products out there?
Yes, we have. And there are some similar products, but the way that their packages are kind of laid out are different. A lot of them are either focused in really small, like local communities, and a lot of them are free. The Museum of Contemporary Art in Denver actually just launched something that was very similar, their Octopus Initiative, this past weekend, I believe. But theirs is free, and they commission artists to actually bring in work, and then it's a lottery system. So there are things similar, but not necessarily sort of a for-profit business that focuses specifically on local artists and supporting that market.
Why not charge an artist to participate in this?
Well, because like half of the reason why we're doing it is to give artists this exposure and do it in a very easy way. So like it costs a lot of money to put your work into a museum or a gallery because you're in charge of like how you have to display it, and sometimes you have to pay just to have a spot. And so we want to have a free option that you can just like get your name out there very easily.
And how do you expect it? It sounds like there's other options out there like this one, but different. Why would I participate with you as an artist versus an MCA?
Yeah, well, the way MCA runs it is they actually like contact artists specifically, but we really want to work on actually formulating sort of a local community that involves being able to really engage with local artists. And really formulate that connection, because I feel like there's a really big gap between, we have such a prominent community with a lot of really great local artists, but there's such a divide in how you're able to access these pieces and how you're able to access these artists, and I feel like a lot kind of get pushed to the wayside. So really building up that foundation is something that's important to us, and we hope that we can convey to customers as well.
Do you fear any quality control issues by having it open?
Yeah, so actually we've worked with quite a few more successful artists, talked to them about this, and have suggested actually having like a panel that actually reviews kind of the art to make sure it would be adhering to certain quality standards, that someone would actually want to have it in their space, as opposed to like your 3-year-old drawing something and putting it on the fridge. So kind of adhering to some quality control standards there.
I have one more technical question. Who, if putting art, and I'm sure you've research that's given the MCA in Denver as well now. Where does liability lie if art is damaged?
Yeah, so it's kind of a very complex issue, which is why we're actually working with a law student and a couple of lawyers right now. So we're actually working on developing sort of a separate insurance plan that either artists, it's twofold. Artists can buy into it to ensure their artwork, and then also customers have to buy into it, providing proof of insurance, or you can actually purchase this package, which covers the actual art if something were to go wrong. So, yeah.
And are we done?
One last
Can I
question.
do one last question? It sounds like you haven't priced it out yet, but do you have any ballpark in terms of your commission and how that compares to industry standards for galleries or artists?
Yeah, so we've actually looked at a lot of gallery contracts, and the way it works is it's usually about a 50-50 split, if not maybe a 60-40 split, 60 going to the artist, 40 going to the gallery. And we hope to actually push that more towards the artist side, working at a 75% going to the artist and 25 to us.
Okay.
Hi guys, we are Village Sanitation Solutions, here to introduce the Indian Sanitation Project. So, pass over to Hannah.
Alright, so there's currently a pretty big issue in India. There's no formal sewage sanitation system, so a majority of human waste goes untreated into the environment. This leads to roughly 300,000 children dying per year due to contamination with the soil and water and things like that. So the Indian government has obviously paid attention to this big issue, and they've invested some money into cleaning up India's sanitation issue. But unfortunately, there are still some hurdles that they need to clear. First is that the people of India are still kind of culturally unwilling to switch over to a community latrine or household toilet system. This is because they've been going outdoors for many, many years, and a lot of people believe that defecating outside and on their farmlands or things like that helps their crops grow better. Kind of on that's not the deal. Secondly, a big problem that they're having is that a lot of their waste goes untreated still. Community latrines get very dirty and are still not sanitary, or the latrines that they're putting in place aren't being treated well. So we have a target market. We're targeting the rural village of India, which is a potential market of about 850 million people that are lacking in this area. We also would like to target the youth and schools because children, as we know, are more likely to pick up new habits and accept a new social norm. So we have a twofold solution, composting local area to process the waste, and we are developing a mobile take-home collection receptacle that Andrew's going to talk more about.
Okay, so as Hannah mentioned, this is kind of a two-pronged problem, right? We have the problem of processing waste and the problem of the collection. So in researching this problem, we've come across this company, the Sulab International Group, and they are developing and implementing these composting toilets that they've been putting into specific urban areas. It's a pit latrine system where one is used to compost the waste while the other is used to collect. In these latrines, natural composting happens. So our goal is to work with them and develop this mobile receptacle that is used to collect waste in rural areas. It's going to be lightweight, lined with a composting bag liner, and it's going to be, we're developing a plan to make it inexpensive so it can actually be implemented. So how these two interact is we will work strategically with the Sulab International Group to place their composting toilets in somewhat dense urban areas, so to speak, where a larger population for a rural area lives. Then we can provide these mobile receptacles for the surrounding population that would not want to track in a couple miles every day to use a composting toilet. After 2 or 3 days, we're designed this receptacle to collect for 2 to 3 days. They could take it in and have a hands-free interaction with this composting station. And then once they're done with that, they can just reline with the bag. Right now we're just currently developing a proof of concept prototype showing that you can have a hands-free interaction. But we know that there is quite a big problem going on, and we plan to attack that problem. So it's kind of a good business opportunity. There's 850 million potential customers, and the Indian government is putting a lot of money into solving this problem. So if we can come up with a proof of concept prototype that shows that this works well, there's a lot of potential for growth. Thank you.
Okay, I'll start. What's the difference between your solution and the Indian government solution, or would the Indian government buy your solution?
Yeah, so that's the plan. It's because I've already put $29 billion into solving this problem. They're actually trying to buy solutions that they're having that trouble getting over that cultural unwillingness. So they're putting in like Western style toilets that people don't want to use. So the idea is put something that can be taken out to the field and can easily integrate into their daily lives. But we needed something to process the waste as well, and that's where the other Sulab International Group's composting toilet comes into play. So they could work kind of in tandem, so we could focus more on the collection and they can continue to do the processing.
And about how much is the composting top toilet? Would you guys sell to, or you would leave that with them and you'd sell the what's the other toilets?
The mobile solution.
The mobile solution is what you would sell.
Yeah. So we would work in tandem with them.
Okay.
I think they're more of a non-profit kind of group, but I'm sure the Indian government, seeing this kind of cheap product attack, it's something with a lot of potential to fill.
And about how much do you think? I know you're still in prototyping, but what's the cost range?
Well, for it to be go back. They have this Clean India mission where they provide $187 per household. So it's got to be somewhere at a price point where it's actually can be implemented. So we're trying to make it dollars on cents, but we got to get through the proof of concept.
And do you know what the average family size is in those rural areas?
Roughly 3 to 5, mother, father, and then one of the children.
What is your plan for the education? You talked about how it's socially not standard to this way, so how would you attack that component of it? Because the kids are the one paying for this.
So our idea is to have these provided for the children, and then maybe some kind of education system. Again, we're engineers, so that's something we kind of outsource. But the idea is to kind of put into put into the schools pictures or like games. I know they do stuff like that already, but they just don't really have anything that's working. So
I'm curious about what your team is like. Who you are and what your team consists of.
So we're undergrads in the senior design program. We're in the special engineering for social innovation group. So there's 5 mechanical engineers in the team.
And can you talk a little bit about your timeline?
Yeah, so we are going to have the proof of prototype done within the next month or so, and once we have that done, we're working to in tandem develop a manufacturing plan with models of something. For the prototype, we didn't want to develop these models. Injection molding, something where this would be made, is something that costs way more than our budget through our project. So if we had a good plan and just designs and molds for how that would work, that's the plan for the upcoming future. And then after that, just reaching out to Indian Indian companies and seeing, trying to get input on their thoughts of how we can improve the use, right? Like maybe we have this great idea of how the collection can happen, but maybe it's not even something to be integrated. We need to make some tweaks in there. So.
Have you reached out yet? I think to the company that makes the compost.
Yeah, we've been in contact with them, so we know their whole plan, and they've given us drawings and kind of how their system works. So our hope is to get this idea built, this proof of concept prototype done, and then we can reach out to them and show them kind of our plan from there. So.
Do they have any major competitors in that arena right now?
Not that we have found out. Awesome. Thank you.
By the time the typical kid turns 12 in the United States, they will have spent a full 2 years looking at a screen. That's nearly 1/3 of their entire waking life. And while digital devices can provide some benefit for our youth, study after study have shown that excessive technology use can inhibit fine motor control, decrease our ability to manage time, and even be damaging to psychological health. But worst of all, repetitive videos and games offer no opportunity for creativity, collaboration, or critical thinking. That's why we've created the world of Myra Makes, where kids are empowered to become the heroes of their own creative adventures. Our approach, interactive adventure books, games, and programs for ages 6 to 10. Our first product, Journey to Cloud City, is an activity book with activities for creativity, collaboration, and crafting that we published on Amazon last July and on Kickstarter on March 1st. The idea is simple. Join your new friend Myra, travel to a variety of environments, learn about the animals you meet there, and become the hero by helping solve the challenges that pop up along the way. Let's have a peek inside. To begin, you customize the adventure by making your own additions to Myra and creating your own characters to join along. You become a hero by creating the solutions that you need to continue on. And you bring your imagination to life by combining our creative problem-solving prompts with arts and crafts supplies that you have at home to build something real and physical. This tactile element is key for building fine motor skills, enhancing creativity, and building early design thinking practices. This book was created out of an 8-month design process during which we received feedback and ideas from hundreds of families and teachers. We've received direct product feedback from over 100 families, have conducted in-depth interviews with 50 parents to understand their core values and key challenges, and have 20 signed up for ongoing product testing. We built a community committed to the success of our mission. Here's a few of my favorite snippets from some of our reviews. It has it all. We have not put the book down. It's rare to have a book that keeps me as entertained as the little ones, and a great way to support compassion and teamwork. The difference between our book and the other options available on the market is clear. We combine some of the best elements from top-selling books in our space while adding our own unique flair and story. The child is the hero of the story. We combine different learning goals, spark tangible, real-world creation, have something that's fun for parents and kids alike, but most of all, we're a triple bottom line company committed to environmental and social justice as well. But the most exciting thing is that this journey is just the beginning. Using the same basic concept of adventure to introduce creativity and problem-solving prompts, we can create additional activity books, background storybooks, in-person programs such as our first summer camp, which will be held this summer and is a feature in 5280 magazine, and spin-off products such as this card game prototype that you see here. And financial sustainability is well within our reach. We need to sell only 10,000 books per year to break even while bringing 2 additional products to market every year. By targeting our beachhead of middle-class moms who are already engaged with their kids on creative activities, we can refine our marketing strategy, while at the same time be in contact with global book and toy distributors such as Ingram, which will help bring our products to a mass market. Eventually, in the long term, by capturing just 1% of the total addressable market in the United States, we can achieve profits of $34 million. And so far, over the last year and a half, we've demonstrated significant traction, which proves our commitment and competence. We completed the Catalyze CEU Accelerator program last summer, have learned directly from over 500 families in our space, have exclusively 5-star reviews on Amazon, and our Kickstarter was 60% funded with 2 weeks to go. I'm the founder, Elliot Kurzgaard, and I'm fueled by a love for our mission, customer, and user. I've got 10 years of education experience, training in different design methodologies, and a technical background. I'd love to connect to other parents and teachers excited about our mission, so please feel free to spread our information. Together, we will create a future in which the natural talents and passions of our youth are celebrated as humanity's greatest asset. We look forward to having you be a part of it.
Sure. So I'm the new father of a 6-month-old, and she's already grabbing for my phone, and I'm like, all right, I see where you're going with this. Can you talk a little bit more about the kind of auxiliary enterprises you're looking at?
Yeah, absolutely. So this box represents additional books, so that would be additional activity books that continue the story, as well as background stories to develop our characters more and build kind of that brand loyalty. In the middle, we have in-person programs, which would be running like summer camp style programs with kids. The first one of those will be this July. And then the last one is just additional, more standalone games and things. So that would include board games, card games, of which we have one currently in development, and kind of additional hands-on activities.
Can you, this is totally, who's Myra?
Myra is a made-up person intended to kind of be the average person. She doesn't really have any defined racial characteristics or origin. I'm kind of working on her origin story right now, but intentionally keeping it kind of ambiguous and vague. In the current book we have, she's the only human. So that's kind of her distinguisher, although that will change. Cloud City is, as it turns out, where all the people are, so.
And why is your sweet spot 6 to 10?
So we targeted 6 to 10 just because it's a pivotal age for kids as they kind of transition more towards adolescence and adulthood. They're old enough to be able to read and kind of, they're beginning to understand how the world really works. And it's just a key time frame in which kids are developing their identities and defining, you know, I'm good at math or I'm not good at math, you know, I'm this way, I'm that way. So we thought it was a key time to focus in on for that reason. And I also just personally love to work with kids at that age.
And just a quick question, what is biomimicry?
So biomimicry is a design system, kind of similar to design thinking, but the basic idea is that you look to the natural world for inspiration when solving challenges. So you'll cast your challenge in terms of some kind of function, let's say connect people together or connect things together, and then you look to nature as like how are natural systems connected and kind of use that as inspiration for design.
And your local distributors, how have sales been going in those locations, and have they restocked with you?
So far we haven't had any restocks of our local from local retailers, and sales have actually been kind of slow. And I think a big reason for that is twofold. The price point as it is right now is too high, and stores told us that immediately. They still bought them from us, but they just knew based on the price that they probably weren't going to sell. Additionally, I think the cover is too complicated and convoluted. And then finally, most people go to stores kind of with the intention of what they want to buy in the first place, so building that word of mouth base is really critical for this.
And then what's your price point right now?
So in retail, it's $15.
And do you know what the costs are?
So as we've been producing it, which has been through CreateSpace, the cost for us has been about $5.50 per book. However, the goal of the Kickstarter campaign was to be able to produce 1,000 copies from a local printer, and that will also allow us to get like recycled paper and some other stuff. But doing it that way will get the cost down to $3 per book, and at the scale of like 10,000, it'll be less than $1.
Have you had parents and families outside of kind of the Boulder, Denver metro area?
Yes, we have. We've done testing in Boston, actually, in Maine. We've got some books in Florida, and we did a free trial subscription this past fall where we had not books, but kind of packets with activities from the books in like 30 states, I think.
And can you tell us a little bit more about your team? Besides you, because there's a lot of marketing and business modeling and distribution.
Yeah, so we had 3 founders, but currently I'm the only founder, so I am the whole team as it stands. That was a shift that happened a couple months ago. They had other things in their lives that they kind of need to focus on. But definitely marketing and graphic design would be the biggest areas in which I'd like to bring on additional help.
Anything else from the judges? You good? All right.
In 2011, I was training for a marathon. However, during my training, I cracked both my shin bones. Turns out I was running with bad form. But I'm not alone. Up to 79% of runners experience injury. I'm Annika Hoagland, and I launched Operation Cadence to help reduce the prevalence of injury among runners. The average recreational runner has a cadence of 160 steps per minute. This cadence is often coupled with overstriding, which creates a braking effect when the foot lands in front of the body. Research indicates that a 180 cadence is a more efficient step rate. At this rate, the foot naturally lands more beneath the body's center of gravity, and there's less stress on the joints and bones. This may reduce the runner's risk of injury or expedite rehabilitation after injury. The problem is, despite the simplicity of this approach, many runners aren't aware of it, and for those who are, the tools available aren't engaging. At Operation Cadence, we educate runners with new music. By stepping to the beat of our music, runners are able to maintain a high step frequency. Our music will be delivered in a mobile app. This app will include many of the features of a traditional running app, such as GPS tracking and workout history. In addition, it will have a cadence training mode, resources on running form, and provide access to our music. The highlight of our product is music-directed workouts with a consistent pulse. The diversity of our music enables us to create workouts that allow the runner to maintain a high step frequency during all phases of the training session. Both our high energy and our recovery music have the same basic pulse as heard in these music samples. So, as the pace of the workout changes, we change style of music. We differentiate ourselves from our competition because we offer a cadence-driven music training app. Currently, music apps aren't geared toward a high step frequency, cadence apps lack music, and training apps aren't integrated with either. As a cadence app, we help others run more efficiently. As a training app, we help runners achieve their goals. And as a music app, we provide inspiration. Because no one has yet achieved this combination, we will be able to capitalize on the most valuable intersection in the running app industry. And by focusing on instrumental music, we're doing something no one else is. We're creating an inspirational soundtrack for running without the distraction of lyrics. Our market is large, with 45 million runners in the United States and 27 million people running with music. This population is educated, employed, and affluent. This is reflected in the size of the industry. In 2017, fitness apps generated $2.2 billion in revenue. We will offer a subscription service with plans starting at $9.99 per month. This will provide access to our music and workouts. We will also offer a free 7-day trial, allowing users to experience the value of our product prior to subscribing. Our moderate projections show us taking 0.15% of the market share 5 years after launching, when we have over 40,000 subscribers and $4 million in revenue. Operation Cadence has been well received at a number of local running groups and clubs, where our music has been shown to increase running cadence, and people have described it as simultaneously relaxing and energizing. We will go to market by tapping into the existing infrastructure of the running industry. Key partnerships will connect us with networks of runners, stores for playing our music, and venues for running clinics. And with online marketing, we will increase visibility, engage customers, and establish ourselves as a reputable resource for runners. I'm a professional musician who will be earning running coach certification in May 2018. And my partner Thomas has a background in engineering and is developing the prototype for the Operation Cadence iOS app. Our team also includes a large number of composers who are excited to connect with a new audience. Some of their accolades include commissions from the Atlanta Chamber Players and the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. Our advisors are key in shaping our direction. With their experience in music, business, and rhyming, they provide exceptional counsel. New Venture Challenge Prize money will provide a foundation as we build a business for the sustainable creation of our music. We're changing the world of running with music. I hope you'll join us. Thank you.
I guess I'll go first again. In terms of the music, did you, a lot of folks who run like their songs, the songs they know, have you thought at all about or tested at all how people will adopt if it's music that's not kind of the music they listen to or popular songs that they're already interested in?
A lot of the people that I've spoken with are interested in music that doesn't have lyrics. They want something that allows them to have a meditative experience or something that will distract them from what they might be worried about. So several people express that.
And I want you to know, when I ran this morning,
yes,
I thought about your 180 beats versus 160 and shortened my cadence. Thank you very much.
Kind of in the same line as Lena's question. I know that when I run, I take each song as kind of a way to make me go quicker. Or, I think there's only 5 more left, only 4 more left. And so I'm wondering, how much variety is there in the composition? Or
the beautiful thing about contemporary classical music is it can be as diverse as possible. So we have influences from jazz to Bulgarian folk music, which is surprisingly raucous, and we have a waltz and really a wide variety. So the goal is to really have the music change as the workout changes. So that'll be an RLQ.
Can you go back to the competitive screen?
Certainly.
How do you plan to break through? What are you all thinking from a marketing standpoint? I mean, especially on the training side, you can attach playlists and things to many of those apps right now to provide you that music.
So a lot of the apps, they do allow you to play your own music, but it's not integrated. And so if you have an interval training and you're supposed to be running quickly, when we were listening, Linkin Park screaming at you when you're supposed to be sprinting, Linkin Park's still screaming at you when you're supposed to be walking.
Yeah.
So it just, to me, it doesn't make sense. So by integrating it, we're trying to do something completely new.
What are your plans for the volume of music, the amount of music that's needed to kind of sustain this and keep people connected to the app?
Initially, we're gonna. I'm commissioning some composers currently, and then we're gonna sponsor a music competition. We'll have 5 different categories based on instrumentation, and then cash prizes and professionally mixed and master recording, and just that through a competition.
And how, I was getting, there's a lot of volume, and the composers can do a lot of work, but you also have a lot of recording needs as well, and large ensembles or groups, depending on the style and the type of music.
We're focusing on chamber music, so I think that's absolutely more sustainable and easier to use. And I think once we launch, getting enough subscribers will be the creation of new music.
Do you know of any of these competitors beginning to integrate music for the exact same reason as anybody else? Or anybody's researching looking to do what you're doing?
I've looked into a lot of them, and I haven't seen anybody trying to integrate. And I think that the diversity of our music enables us to do that more easily than our competitors.
Thank you. Thank you.
There we go. Hi, I'm Myrick Atencio, and I'm going to go over my venture called C3D Taps. It's 3D printing tap handles for local breweries and home brewers. So to start off with, whenever you guys go to a restaurant or a bar, and all the tap handles you see on the rack, those are supplied by the brewery. So they pay out of pocket to supply tap handles. And this is essential for them because how they market is through their tap handles. And if it's a bad tap handle, it usually means that it's not really good beer. So the problem or profile of most breweries right now, and even home brewers, is that tap handles are pretty expensive. They're low quality. The lead times usually take to 6 to 8 months just to get an order out. Usually most companies that supply tap handles have a minimum order of 200 to 500 tap handles per order. They're inconvenient for logo change, which is really bad for small breweries who want to change their logos and expand to expand in the market. And overall, it's just costly for breweries, and also it scares away any home brewers who just want to have a nice tap handle for home. So the whole mission of this is to create a service so that individuals or breweries can come to C3D Taps to have an affordable tap handle made for them. It's easily designed, quickly produced, it's robust and not going to be broken easily, cost effective, no minimum order, and also aesthetically pleasing so that people recognize the tap handle in a bar or a restaurant. So to start off with, there's 3 different design packages. First is the generic, and that's mostly just a pre-designed template for a tap handle. And that's where a brewery or a home brewer can just put any name, logo, or whatever on a basic tap handle that's already been made. Next is a custom, and that's where a brewery can come in and request for a custom design of a tap handle. Finally, it's a do-it-yourself, and that's where someone, if they have really good CAD skills like me, they can create a CAD file, and they can submit the file for 3D printing. And this is where all the magic happens. It's really cool. So this is a Project 460. This is the printer that I currently have right now, and it's a full color, full texture 3D printer. And through the processes that I've made and whatnot of designing tap handles, the material is relatively cheap and at first pretty brittle, but after the post-processing, it's actually relatively strong. So right now, there's the IP can be filed for the procedure of creating the tap handles. That goes into from printing to post-processing. And then after that is the sale of ownership of the digital files. Next, revenue of services come from the design packages, also 3D printing, design contracting, and then also advertising for any companies that want to just display their businesses on our website. So the business plan right now is that there are about 350 breweries, that's also tap rooms and stuff included breweries, in the Denver, Boulder area just alone. Or no, 350 breweries in Colorado. And then there's also just 250 breweries, tap rooms and stuff in the Denver, Boulder area. And that's a huge market to take advantage of. And next from there, we want to develop a website where breweries and home brewers can just go there to go online and they can actually place it. Then create relations with breweries, other people, and then also organizations like the American Home Brewers Association. And then finally is the expansion. And currently I want to take over the Colorado market, then expand to regional, then national, and then hopefully one day global if this thing goes really well. And just to get this into perspective, the national market for beer is about $50 billion, and the global market is about $500 billion. So the estimates for the startup right now is about $120,000, and that's mostly just for the machinery alone. And then there's other side components as well, such as media and marketing and everything else. And this also needs to include as well, I did not include, is that with the startup costs, a break-even price point, you would need about 20 to 30 customers who are also recurring, making orders about every 2 to 3 months. Finally, just wanted to finish off, if you guys have any brewery contacts, beer contacts, anyone else who wants to have tap handles, shoot them to me. I'll love to spread the word. And also, right now I'm recruiting and looking for people who are CAD designers, who are great at marketing, who can go into the breweries and talk to breweries or just do the sales. And then finally, technicians to aid in the process of creating the tap handles and managing the machines. I want to finish off by saying I'm Eric Tencio, and hope you guys enjoyed the presentation, and let's go grab it.
I have a question about your pricing.
Yes.
So how much would one of these cost through traditional avenues?
So just a custom tap handle normally costs about, at the minimum range of $100, and those are really basic. Those are like wood carved lathe and whatnot, with just basic images, like for basic designs. I can actually go back and show you. So like the one on the far right, they actually were paying $150 for those tap handles. And then the one on the left was about $35. And that's the generic type. It's pretty bad how bad the design is, and they're charging them that much.
And then remind me again, how much are these?
That one is about $25. And it depends on the size and volume of the order and whatnot. They order 200 tap handles. Usually the price is pretty low because you can just jam. The cool part about this printer, you can put however many you need in there, or there's like a limiting size, but usually the most I put in one build is about 60 tap handles. Just this, and this is considered a small machine. Like the bigger machines, it's pretty crazy.
Can you talk a little bit more, in a little more detail about, you said it wasn't patentable, that the process of creating the handles is?
It's a IP process. So it's the procedure done to create the process. It's like, what is it? It's always taking my time. Yeah, it's just the process of creating the tap handles. It's something I've developed, and just that process I feel like I'm pretty sure it can be patentable. Not patentable, but intellectual property. There are no Wait, what was that?
Trade secret.
Trade secret, yes. Yeah. I was trying to find the
So you
word.
think there's a pretty big gap between your average everyday guy who likes to figure out 3D printed stuff and actually being able to produce a functional, workable industry for?
Well, surprisingly, like just developing the process of creating a tap panel, that took me about a year. There's a lot of trial and error going through that, and I had to like convince several breweries to like let them be my guinea pigs in the beginning, you know. But then I finally came through a process that actually created. But any person would have to probably go through the same processes that I had to learn. Surprisingly, tap handles are pretty difficult because you have different types of tap handles. You'll have porcelain ones where the moment you drop it, it shatters in a million pieces and then it's gone. Or then you have like wooden tap handles where the key insert thread will like break out over time, and then you have to figure out how to put that in with just printing stuff. So, yeah.
So is it just you right now?
Currently it's me, yeah. I initially started the idea back in New Mexico, and I had a few breweries who were following me and whatnot. Then I went through the process of moving here for grad school, got really busy, and then also there's a lot of relationship issue stuff that happened that kind of hindered me.
Do you foresee needing a large sales team? Like how do you sell these to? You sell them to the bars, right?
Well, to the breweries. It would be to the small breweries and home brewers, and mostly the bars don't buy the tap handles. It's it's the breweries, and it's mostly because that's how they market their beers and whatnot. They can design. So, a good example right here. Like these are all Santa Fe brewery tap handles and whatnot. They kind of follow the same thing with the pyramid on top. Some of them kind of go to the traditional tap handle style. It's depending on the brewery and whatnot, because in the end, they're the ones that have to supply the keg with the contract for a bar or a restaurant, and also a tap handle. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all. First of all, on behalf of the judges, thank you so much. You guys presented some really wonderful ideas, wonderful concepts. It's really exciting. I joke that I work in a college of music, so this is the only way I can give back to a bunch of music people with my knowledge base. It's the only thing I know about is business. So it's wonderful to be able to be a part of this. We debated fiercely and had some wonderful discussion about the merits and lack of merits of some of the processes. No, that's we had a front runner, a winner, and then we had two co-runner-ups. The winner will receive $3,000, and the runner-ups will each receive $1,000. The winner we have is Cannabis Marketing Association. And the should have probably done that in opposite order, I'm sorry. I'm not used to this. The runners-up who are Operation Cadence and Myra Makes.
So come to the NBC Championships April 4th at the Boulder Theater, and there's no more pizza left. So, so thank you all for coming. Have a great night, and keep on keeping on. Be inspired.